Chiefs Kingdom, ACU crew, welcome back to All Chiefed Up. Another live podcast for that ass. Steve, it's Thursday. This is the bye week. Still minimal news going around, but the big one today was Kadarius Toney back at practice. His injury designation is gone. Poof. It just says personal reasons now. What's going on with it?
I don't know. Before we get started, guys, appreciate you being here this evening. We're a little early today, but hey, it's cool. We're going to hang out with y'all during the evening, see how that goes today. Hit that like button for us. If you don't care, it just takes 2 seconds. It'll help get more people in here. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe right away. Don't know what you're waiting for. But yeah, Kadarius Toney back at practice, Mike. The big question that brings is he going to be available for the Super Bowl? That's the question.
Right. Well, he looks pretty happy. He looks happy for a guy that talked crap to the organization, and then Andy Reid come out. I mean, was it fake? Was it not? Who knows? I don't think it was fake. I think he's trying to put on a good face now of like, hey, everything's cool. In the offseason, Brett Veach can still can this dude. There's no guarantees at any point. Does he play in the Super Bowl? It's possible, I guess. I'll say anything's possible. Do you want to mess up this little rotation we have going with the wide receivers? I personally don't think you should. Maybe in a specific kick return, punt return row, I would be okay with it. Maybe if you want to give him some carries out of the backfield, I'll be okay with it. Other than that, maybe 2 or 3 gadget plays. Maybe we can let Kadarius Toney do some of the goal line stuff McCole Hardman's actually got a chance to do and drop the ball literally every time he's done it.
Brad, we got Steve-O in the house with the dollar. We appreciate you, Steve-O. Good to see you, my man. Hope you're doing well.
Steve-O.
I don't think anything's changed with me about Kadarius Toney. I think if he's going to be active and they're going to use him in some capacity, I think it has to be punt returning. Don't put him on the field in the offense if you don't think that's going to work. I mean, we've seen him dropping over and over and over again this year. Don't know if it's a confidence thing. Don't know if he's just going through the yips or something in his head. I mean, we all know from last season that Kadarius Toney can catch the ball. I mean, there was one play particularly that everyone talked about where he's literally like tightening his gloves up and everything and catching things nonchalantly.
Jaguars, I believe.
Right. So, I mean, we know the guy can catch the ball, but something's been going on this year, probably something mental. Obviously, if that was him on Instagram the other day, that's not a good look for him as well. I don't know, man. I don't think that he will be active personally. I think he's been out. Of course, you know, being back at practice is one thing, but actually being active for the game, that's a whole different thing. And I just don't see it. I don't see them messing with anything that's gone on so far. But if he is there, kick returning or punt returning, I mean, that's all I see him doing.
Right. I agree. If you the background of that clip, you've seen Sky Moore running through there too. Sky Moore, apparently the knee's looking better. I don't know if I'd play him either. Let's just be honest. Let's keep the receiving core the exact same we've kept it through these last 2 to 3 games. And let's try to win the 4th, right? Like, I don't understand why you would want to mess with anything right now. Like, everything's kind of clicking. Let's not screw it up and go back to this giant rotation where nobody – I feel like the receivers are starting to, like, fall into a zone and a rhythm right now. And I just don't see how you want to interrupt that. I don't understand that at all. And I don't think Andy will. If he's smart, which we know Andy's smart, he shouldn't do it.
Well, you mentioned them using him in the red zone and stuff the way they would use McCole Hardman. I guess my question to you is, who do you feel more comfortable with on the field as far as being turnover prone? Is it Kadarius Toney dropping passes, or is it McCole Hardman fumbling every other time he has the ball?
Right. McCole Hardman is not capitalizing on any kind of opportunity he's been given this year. He looked okay during the game when Blaine Gabbert took over the QB, the very last game of the season. But even that game, he dropped a pass. I think he dropped 2 or 3 that game, actually. He quit running on a route that could have resulted in a big play.
Yeah.
I like McCole Hardman personally, but Brett Veach didn't even want the guy at the end of the offseason. And then he goes and trades for him, and then they try to give him opportunities in big-time games, and he has fumbled and fumbled and fumbled. And I think at some point you just got to cut losses here. So you got to say, look, Kadarius Toney, if he's going to be a head case, he's gone. It didn't work out. You know, McCole Hardman, it's not going to work out. And let's just move on. Let's stick with what we got. And let's move on. Let's build.
That's where I'm at with it. But we're talking about this one more game in this season, right?
Right.
It's for it all. All the chips are on the table here. what do you do with these guys? And I think the smart thing to do here would be to limit what you use them for. I think you stick with Rashee Rice and Justin Watson MVS. See how that goes. Obviously, it's huge for the team when MVS can actually step up and catch a few balls.
Right.
But you don't expect it. He's done it in some big games. He seems to be better in the playoffs. But I just think you said cutting losses. They should have cut their losses with McCole Hardman the first time around. I can't believe they went back and grabbed him a second time. It was just Brett Veach trying to appease the fans that wanted something done at wide receiver, I suppose. Otherwise, I have no idea why they revisited that.
You think they just thought that he wasn't being used in New York, so he was a guy that knew the system immediately and could maybe provide a little bit of immediate impact? And then you got what you got with McCole Hardman, right? But I appreciate you watching, Connor. He says, thanks for the stream. Yeah. Cut the losses. Well said.
For sure.
Yeah, appreciate that. We got a 40 bomb from Gil.
Gil with a freaking 40 bomb right off the bat.
That's what's
Gil.
up. Gil, that's the way to go.
My man.
That makes the day, Gil. It makes the day. We're working hard today. We're working hard.
Very generous, Gil. Appreciate that.
Very generous. Legendaries in the chat for Gil, by the way. Give him some ketchup, too, by the way. This game it's bringing out some weird stuff. Have you noticed the sports media is acting so strange over this game? Like, you've got certain Chief haters that are now I think they're trying to jinx Kansas City, to be honest. I think they're like, okay, look, I pick against them, I suck, I'm going to pick them, and let's hope they get jinxed. But I'm seeing that. I'm seeing all these weird takes everywhere about how none of the players on Kansas City's good. Just because Mahomes doesn't have a six-pack of abs, he's miraculously a horrible quarterback now all of a sudden. Did anybody ever see pictures of Tom Brady without a T-shirt?
Yeah, that's stupid. That's just dumb. I think the problem is, Mike, there is no news. This is a dead week, and they're just literally like picking at stories just to try to find something to get people to view. But I don't necessarily think they're picking the Chiefs to jinx the Chiefs. I don't see that. I think they're tired of looking like idiots. I think they're tired of looking stupid. There's only so many times you can pick against.
Hey, there's going to be a few of them that keep continuously picking against.
Well, yeah, like if you have those hard-headed people like Bart Scott that just would never, ever in the history of the world pick the Chiefs for anything. But Kathy Welch with the membership, we appreciate you, Kathy.
Kathy,
glad to have you back as part of the ACU crew. Yeah, man. I don't know. I got to get the membership from Ron here. We appreciate you, Ron.
If you
get that membership from Ron, make sure to thank him in the chat. I just think that there's no news going on. I think it's slow. People's looking for stuff to talk about. I haven't had any kind of weird juju from this whole thing. Personally, I don't think I've seen anything odd. Of course, you have your stupid stories out there. I think you said you had an image of one where they're talking about the best players from the Super Bowl.
This is what I want to bring up. Craig. I don't even know his last name. Craig Cunning.
Craig is a Slapnut. Craig Slapnut.
I don't know what his last name is. It's something like that. I don't want to say the wrong name. But this dude's on Fox Sports. He's on Fox Sports Network. By the way, he's only got 10,000 followers on Twitter, which means only 10,000 people in this entire world thinks this guy's worth a crap, and he's on Fox Sports. That should tell you all you need to know. But check this top 10 players list out for the Super Bowl. Mahomes number one, that's a given. I mean, you would be an idiot not to put that. But check out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All San Francisco, and then Butker at the end. Do you notice there is no Travis Kelce on that list? There is no Chris Jones. Chris Jones was just rated a top 10 player in the NFL by NFL players, and he can't even make the top 10 of this game? What in the world is Craig smoking?
That just shows you how stupid Craig is. That just shows you how dumb he is.
Craig is the biggest idiot / slapnuts that may ever grace this planet.
Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, Isaiah Pacheco.
L'Jarius Sneed should have been on that list.
Yeah, L'Jarius Sneed. All of those guys are top 10.
Nick Bolton should have been on that list.
I mean, who do you actually like? That's the thing about it. Obviously, the dude's a 49ers homer. Who from the 49ers do you put on the list? I put McCaffrey on the list.
And McCaffrey, Debo Samuels can get on the list. Bosa can get on the list. And I'll go ahead and put Kittle. And I guess you do probably have to put Fred Warner.
Debo. I don't even know if I go Debo. I really don't know.
I'm putting L'Jarius Sneed on over Brandon Ayuk. I'm putting L'Jarius Sneed on.
like I said, obviously slow news week if you're coming up with stuff like this. Who's the 10 best players in the Super Bowl, right?
What's the
But
funniest thing though is that he slided Butker in at number 10 just to take a jab. Like your second best player on your team's a kicker.
yeah, that's exactly what
Like
he did.
that's not going to piss off Chris Jones and
49ers
L'Jarius Sneed.
homer.
Thanks for
Well,
poking the bear.
No one cares what old Craig Slapnut has to say.
Craig's an idiot. Like, is there any other way around it? Craig's just an idiot.
Yeah. I really don't know what I would do with that. I'd have to really think about it, but there's definitely going to be probably equal or more Chiefs players than 49ers players on that list.
I don't see how. Okay, look, I get it. Trent Williams, Debo, Brandon Ayuk, these are all good players. But do you really think Brandon Ayuk as a whole is a better player than Chris Jones?
No, absolutely not. Not on any planet. Is that a thing? This guy's crazy.
Craig Slapnut's planet, I guess.
Well, he's delusional, obviously. But yeah, you said you've sensed some weird vibes for the game coming up. Do you think it's actually like weird vibes, or do you think it's more what I said, where there's just no news, there's nothing to talk about, so people are trying to create things? Because I think everyone's waiting for the players to get in Las Vegas and start with the media stuff, and that's when the stories start pouring in. For now, it's more of like, what can we do to grab people's attention, right?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, today, from us, Mike, we're doing a YouTube live, and we had to use the story of Kadarius Toney being on the practice.
Kind of relevant though, considering Toney has been a slapnuts over the past week.
Yes, but that's the closest thing to relevant or a story that there is out there. That's what I'm getting at.
True. With Kadarius Toney practicing with no game designation whatsoever just yet, and the fact that he was on Instagram Live and said some crap. So this is the big story right now. Dude, the Super Bowl always does this. I hate the 2-week lead up to the Super Bowl. I think it's too much. I think what they need to do instead is they need to give the players your week, right? Give it the week. I guess you have to go 2 weeks because they need the exact amount of time off. Let's try to get the injuries under control, get the rest under control.
Yeah.
But do you feel like the Super Bowl needs to be played on the Sunday?
I'm okay with Super Bowl Sunday.
I'm not. I want it on Saturday. Can we put it Saturday and have it a little bit later? That way everybody can enjoy themselves, have some Super Bowl parties, and then recover on Sunday before they go to work on Monday. Saturday is the way to go.
You're going about this all wrong.
I'm not.
People need to recognize it as a national holiday and not be on like.
But they're not going to. You're not going to get a government to declare a national holiday over the Super Bowl. It's not happening. Why? So Saturday would be the.
I know it's not really going to happen, but people got to get it together. Lando 13, appreciate you being here and watching. Says we need to run the ball more than pass because of what Detroit showed us. That when the 49ers are down and can't stop the run, they have to pass against a very hot defense and pass rush. Yeah, they're vulnerable with the run. I mean, anytime you can keep Joey Bosa from getting in your backfield and pass rushing, I guess that's a bonus. But Pacheco's going to have a big day. And it's not that I don't think Pacheco will have a big day. I think he will. It's just how much in all chips on the table, all in game, will Andy Reid stick to the run game? That's the big question. So it's really a wild card.
He's leaned into it though, Steve.
He has, but he's also Andy Reid.
Right. He could now have just set everybody up for 3 games and said, I'm going back to passing the ball 76 times. And let's not do that, Andrew. Let's stick to the run. Let's lean into the defense. I think that's going to be a good one. But that makes a good point. Brock Purdy, blah, 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 blah. Steve, is Brock, I call him Block. Is Brock Purdy.
I like Block better.
In your mind, I'm going to give you quarterbacks, and you tell me, is Brock Purdy better or worse than the quarterback I throw out? Are you ready? This will be a fun exercise.
Let's go.
I'm not even going to say Brock Purdy versus Mahomes. That's the stupidest comparison I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Brock Purdy versus Jared Goff. Who would you rather have on your team?
Jared Goff.
Hot take right off the rip. Okay, I like it. Brock Purdy or Tua?
Tua.
Brock Purdy or Lamar Jackson?
Lamar.
Brock Purdy or Josh Allen?
Josh Allen.
Brock Purdy or let's see. Joe Burrow.
Burrow.
Brock Purdy or Jalen Hurts?
Jalen Hurts.
So Brock Purdy's not in your top 20 quarterbacks then. Like, we can pretty much
Let
say
me
that.
think. So you've hit all the big names. I would take Dak Prescott over Brock Purdy as well.
That's kind of pushing it. Oh, interception Dak.
I mean,
Would you take him over Jordan Love?
What are we talking about for this one game or like
one game building a franchise? Who are you taking?
Building a franchise. I'm taking Jordan Love. Just for this one game, I would take Brock Purdy, and that's for the
Jordan
same
Love
reason.
Beat us head to head.
Yeah, true, but what I'm saying is the reason why I haven't taken Brock Purdy over a lot of those guys that you said is for the sheer experience factor and just God-given ability. Like, I don't think the guy's a bad quarterback, but I think.
Would you rather have Brock Purdy or would you rather have Jimmy Garoppolo?
Brock Purdy. Jimmy Garoppolo is a joke. Like I said, I think he's like he's a upper mid-tier quarterback. Like he's probably like in the top 15, but I wouldn't put him in the top 10 probably. If he is, he's borderline there, right?
You just said Brock Purdy to Jimmy Garoppolo is a joke. Look at this graphic. Garoppolo, Super Bowl season, 13-3. He won more games than Purdy. He only has 200 and some odd passing yards less. He has 4 less touchdowns and 2 more interceptions. They are basically the exact same quarterback, give or take, just a few minuscule stats, Steve. That's what I'm trying to say. Nobody thinks Jimmy Garoppolo carries a franchise and you would pick him to pick up anything and to run through it. But then Brock Purdy, all of a sudden now, is just God's gift to the position. And everything is the exact same. Like, right across the board, it's all the same.
Well, Mike, that's why I said I think the key to winning this game is to shutting down Christian McCaffrey. Don't let them kill you with the run game. And force Brock Purdy to beat you. Because I know they have Brandon Ayuk and they have Deebo Samuel and they have George Kittle, who are all excellent receivers. But we also have L'Jarius Sneed. We have Trent McDuffie. We got Joshua Williams, Jalen Watson, Drew Tranquill. When he has to drop into coverage, is very good in coverage. I'm not worried about any of that. And then you're talking safeties with Kittle. I think Justin Reed can handle him. I don't know, man. I think this team, it's funny that you brought this up because I was getting ready to say.
I knew you were about to go there.
I think this team is very similar to the one that we played in 2019 in a lot of different, like a lot of ways, where they could jump out and get ahead of you. But they're also, I feel like they got less quit in them than that team. That's the only difference I see in 2019 49ers and today's 49ers is they're very persistent. Like
Green Bay, I actually think the 49er team in 2020 was better. I think the defense was more solid.
Yeah, I suppose so. I would give the nod to the defense back then. Offensively, they're better. I think Brock Purdy is better than Jimmy Garoppolo, even though you said they're kind of the same. I don't think there's a huge gap between those by any means.
They're better because of McCaffrey.
That's exactly why. 100%.
100%. So if you stop McCaffrey, if Spags can somehow dial up a game plan that causes Brock Purdy to have to throw, he can't beat you with his legs, you're going to smack the 49ers. I will say that they're used to coming back. So if we actually jump out on them early this game, I wouldn't be surprised.
A complete game. You have to play a complete game.
Would it be crazy, though, that if the Chiefs jump out to 14 or 17? Because we don't have that luxury usually. Usually we're the ones behind 14, 17, and we're having to, trudge back into it. But what a wild Super Bowl if we was to jump out to 14 to 17. Do you feel good, though, if we get up 14 to 17 points with our defense and with Patrick Mahomes knowing that you got to score 3 times to beat this guy? I'm taking that all day.
Yeah, who wouldn't? The thing is you just can't lay off in the second half. You can't do the classic Andy Reid, take your foot off the pedal. Don't think he would do that in a Super Bowl situation or any playoff situation, but I mean, Andy hasn't been known to do it.
Dude, I mean, you have Andy to think, has a chance.
A lot of the Baltimore game was game managing. They were just Andy trying to get the clock
gets a chance to put 50 on the board here. He better do it. I don't care if it's 50-3. Beat them to a pulp. Do not let the officials get anywhere near this game.
What Steve Spagnuolo was able to do game planning for the Baltimore Ravens, I just do not feel any type of way about this game coming up. I do not feel like the least bit nervous or think I feel like the defense is going to shut them down somewhat. Like I do not see them putting any more than 17 points on the board, maybe 21 tops. And I think if the Chiefs continue to get turnovers on defense, if they continue to produce turnovers, and I think the Chiefs are the better team here. I do. I know that the 49ers are stacked up like a Pro Bowl team. I get it.
Right.
I think overall, from front to back, all three phases of the game, I think the Chiefs have the edge.
Right. Bruce comes out with everybody's favorite slight snarky criticism. You don't know football if you think Brock Purdy and Jimmy G are the same QB. I didn't say they were the same QB. I said their numbers were straight across the board. By the way, Garoppolo had a lot less talent around him than Brock Purdy currently does. And the numbers are still better, and the wins were better, Big Daddy. So take that, don't know football, and buzz off.
Well, my thing with Brock Purdy is our defense is effective as they've been all year, and how good they can be putting pressure on a quarterback. They can rattle him. They could definitely rattle him, especially in a Super Bowl. Like this is a kid that was the last pick in the NFL draft, not last year, but the year before that. That's it, Mike. The biggest games he's ever played in his life were the last two. Right. Like I really think that we can rattle him, and I think that it could just be too big of a stage for him. I'm not saying that it will be. He could come out and just go nuts, for all I know. But I'm just saying there is that factor.
I think that's a fair assessment. You have to do that. I just don't see what the big deal about Brock Purdy is per se. He can scramble a little bit more. We've went through the quarterbacks. You're not even taking Brock Purdy over C.J. Stroud at this point.
You're talking about quarterback scrambling after we just shut down Lamar Jackson. I'm not real worried about Brock Purdy scrambling.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like if you can take him and make him so one-dimensional that he has to throw the rock, I think L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie's going to get it done.
Yeah, well, this is a crazy stat, actually, from Travis Peterson. He said the last 8 games, the Chiefs have scored in the first drive, which is amazing considering how they played this season with that offense being a little stagnant. So if they can keep that up and put pressure on them early, Mike, I do think that's key to it. Chris Wright with the 5 gifted memberships. We appreciate you, Chris. Legend himself is here. Make sure to put some catch-ups in the chat for him. And if you get a membership from Chris, make sure to thank him in the chat, please. Yeah, you said we pointed out they can come back from a big deficit. They've done it all through the playoffs. But I think you still have to get it and jump out on top of them. You got to put the pressure on them. You don't want to play the entire Super Bowl with the pressure on you. You just don't. Like, get out, put the pressure on them, make them do something, make them press. I think Brock Purdy.
Whoa.
There's his new name. That's it.
I'm sure Brock somebody said that before, right?
I think Brock Purdy is prone to turning the ball over with a lot of pressure and a lot of heat on his shoulders. So I like it. I just like our defense. I love what our defense does for this team. We've not had a defense like this on the Chiefs in years. And it's like, I just take advantage of it.
If Tua and that high-powered offense and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and you name it, just right down the board, Mostert, Achane, they didn't do nothing on our defense. Then you go over and Josh Allen gets pummeled and Stephon Diggs and they don't do much.
That's why I'm not worried about the all-star cast.
Why do you think the 49ers, who, by the way, they don't have a receiver on the 49ers, better, I would say as good, but they don't have anybody better than a Stephon Diggs. They definitely don't have nobody better than Tyreek Hill.
No, absolutely not, man. That's what I'm saying. I'm not worried about their all-star
quarterback
cast
is not as good as
we've been able to shut down.
Right, their quarterback's not as good as anybody we faced in the playoffs so far.
That Dolphins offense was far more lethal than the 49ers offense. The big difference is Christian McCaffrey. He is the big difference on that team. He's a wild card. That's why I said you have to shut him down. You cannot let him beat you to death. I'm not worried about anybody else, but let's just contain Christian McCaffrey. Don't let him beat you.
Right. I agree.
What you doing?
Just looking up some stats, man. What are you doing?
No, nothing.
Just watching
Hanging
me.
out, talking about the Chiefs. Yeah, I was watching. I was listening to the keyboard click. If you're real quiet, we can hear your keyboard clicking.
Well, that's y'all's problem.
You can hear Mike hard at work over there. Enrique in the house. What's up, man? He says our boys are killing it, just like the Chiefs. My question is there a risk the Kingdom is underestimating the Niners? Let's freaking go. Yes, sir. I do think there's a risk. You can't underestimate them. Everything we just talked about, Mike, I feel completely confident. I feel comfortable with it. I do think the Chiefs are the better team, but there is no doubt in my mind that they can come out and beat the Chiefs. If you've watched this team all year long and you think there's no chance that the 49ers could win this game, then you're off your rocker.
Right.
The Chiefs have the main thing I said that they have to do, Mike. I'm not even talking X's and O's. I'm not talking anything else. If the Chiefs don't bring that intensity that they've had the entire playoffs and they don't have that fire, then they're in trouble. Like, that's the main thing. They have to be in the right mindset, have the right attitude, come out of the gate swinging, put the pressure on them, set a tone. That's what they did with Baltimore. They bullied the bullies in Baltimore.
Agreed.
Continue to do it. Appreciate the 5, Enrique.
Appreciate you, brother. I was trying to look up some stats for where'd it go? Our boy, let's see. Where in the world did that go? Oh, D Brown 85. He said, how y'all feel about Purdy being good against the blitz? Purdy is good against the blitz. I wanted to find some exact stats before I just started rambling it off. But once the season, I want to say somewhere around mid-December, he had 1,529 yards against the blitz, which was number one in the NFL. He was at almost 10 yards per attempt, number one in the NFL. 14 touchdowns, number one in the NFL. 128 QB rating versus the blitz, number one in the NFL. So he can beat the blitz. A lot of that is just about how do you beat the blitz, right? So does he check down very well? He's got a lot of good guys he can check down to. He's got Ayuk and he's got Debo. Those same guys, you can throw the ball out to them 3 yards and all of them can take it to the house. You know what I'm trying to say? He can do the same thing with McCaffrey, he can get a little dip down play and he can chunk up some yardage. So he's got a lot of good weapons around him that cause him to be able to bail that out. But here's the thing. I don't think Spags has to blitz to create pressure.
It's not. I agree with you, but he's going to. And the big major difference is being good against the blitz is he's not played Steve Spagnuolo. I don't know for sure. It's really hard to look at stats and tell this, but do you think there's been anyone that will confuse him the way that Spags will? Disguising things.
Blitz too. Yeah. I understand that. But I'm just saying, Spags does not have to blitz you all the time. Just very well-timed blitzes in certain key situations.
That's true.
Because you don't have to with Chris Jones. He's the game wrecker. He will take double and triple teams.
Are on one, okay? So, yeah, I think you can get pressure. But I think blitzing is okay. I think that blitzing even 40 to 50% of the time is okay. You just have to do it the right way. I mean, that's all there is to it. They blitzed a lot against the Ravens, and you would think you don't want to blitz Lamar that much, right? But they did it, and they did it effectively. It's about how you do it.
Right. Well, when you blitz, okay, everybody knows when you blitz is you tackle everybody on the way to the quarterback, which means if it's a run, don't get caught in it. Just hit the running back on the way. That's how you have to do it. So if you can prevent getting burnt by the blitz with McCaffrey leaking out of the backfield, because we don't do that very well. We don't stop the run as well as we should. Those are the two big things. Again, this whole entire matchup's coming down to Christian McCaffrey. If you can hold Christian
100%.
McCaffrey, if you can hold him to under 100 yards and a touchdown, the Chiefs are winning this game.
Absolutely. I strongly believe that. Man, did you see any of the game tape from the Ravens game where Drew Tranquil was spying the quarterback?
I seen a little bit. Remember, I told you before the game when they said Willie Gay was out, and they were like, it looks like, who'd they say? Nick Bolton? No.
Yeah, I don't know.
They said it was going to be Leo. And I was like, good Lord, that's got to be wrong.
Leo made some good plays, but I'm telling you, man, Drew Tranquil was on one last week. He caused a lot of the big plays in that game. Even the plays he didn't make, he created it. it was insane how good he was. I think they'll figure out a way to use him to their advantage too. You don't necessarily have to spy Brock Purdy. But I mean, if you want to not give up third downs by, scrambling and stuff like that, then I mean, I don't know, man. I just think it goes the same with Christian McCaffrey. Like, keep a bit of attention on him because he is the X factor.
Right.
I just feel like we have so many good, smart football players on that defensive side of the ball with an extremely good coordinator. I just, even if they come out in the first half, Mike, and they have a little bit of success, I still think, that halftime adjustment is huge. And you have to think you get the 40-minute halftime. So, I mean, I think the defense is in a really good spot to have a great Super Bowl. And if our defense has a good game, we win it.
Dude, even their offensive line with Trent Williams and just all their guys up front, Brock Purdy has got sacked a lot this year. He got sacked 28 times this season in the regular season. There was multiple games. I'm talking multiple games. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 games. He got sacked 3+ times. And then in almost every other game, 2. He only had 2 games all season where he didn't get sacked. That was against Arizona and Washington. That was it. Arizona and Washington. That was the only 2 teams that didn't sack Brock Purdy. The Chiefs are going to go back, and Spags is going to look at how the Cleveland defense shut him down in Week 6. In Week 6 versus Cleveland absolutely smacked Brock Purdy and that entire 49ers team around. He was pressured literally 15 times, 3 sacks. He only threw the ball for 125 yards, a 44% completion percentage. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, he completed 12 passes out of 30. Like, they're going to go back and they're going to watch this kind of stuff and they're going to do it. Ray says, Mike and Steve, according to Stephen A. Smith, who's an idiot and a slapnuts, Brock Purdy is one of the 3 best players on the 49ers. Do you agree or disagree? I would say disagree at this point.
You have to disagree, right? I mean, it's too simple to name off 3 guys better than him at their respective position. Like, what do you got? You got George Kittle, Christian
he's probably
McCaffrey,
the second best tight end in football.
Trent Williams. I mean, there's 3 easy. And then do you really think he's a better all-around football player than Deebo Samuel?
He's not better than Fred Warner at his position.
Right, that's what I'm saying, man. I know. I don't think he's a top 3 player on this team.
No.
I think he plays a big part on this team, and he's a quarterback, obviously. But
it's fine to say that Brock Purdy is a good football player. He's a fine football player. But is he elite at this point? He's not showed us that. So why do we have to keep saying he's elite? Why is it because he's the quarterback in the Super Bowl? Like, it's got to be the media narrative that he's an elite top player.
This is his chance to be in that conversation the same way it was Lamar's chance to be in that conversation.
Look, if the 49ers win the game, Brock Purdy literally throws 40% passing, has 150 yards and 2 picks and no touchdowns. Do you still consider him elite just because the defense carried or McCaffrey carried? This dude's getting carried all the time, in my opinion. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback, but he definitely is not as elite as everybody's trying to say.
I think football casuals and analysts sometimes tend to forget that it's a team sport, and they strictly go by quarterback. That's how you'll know when somebody's a big-time casual is when they're like, well, Joe Burrow beat Patrick Mahomes 3 times. It's like, well, they weren't boxing. It's a complete game. It takes a whole team. There's a lot of factors that go into that. D Brown with the 5 bomb says, love it. Right on, Mike and Steve. Go Chiefs. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for the 5. Throw some legendaries in the chat for D Brown.
Yeah, appreciate you, brother. 5 bomb. That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, I mean, it just feels repetitive at this point because we have nothing to speak on. Like, this is all projection. And again, you're going to tune into other places and they're going to say different things. They're going to say, everybody's going to have a different thing because why? We're all just playing this game out in our heads, in our magical melons. It doesn't mean a lot. I'll say that. You could come out and Brock Purdy could have the game of his life. You really could. Every time the Chiefs play someone, do they tend to have the best game they've ever played in their career? Yeah, they really do. People want to beat the Chiefs. It's just what they want to do. They will play up to their highest level and then take it up a notch. The Chiefs have to match the intensity. I'm telling you, I've said it from the beginning of the season and I said it in the playoffs, and it's held true. The only team that can beat the Chiefs are the Chiefs. It's that simple.
100%. That's all I've been saying this whole time, man. They have to bring that same intensity they've had in the playoffs. That's been the major switch that's been flipped for this team going into the playoffs. It's just like it looks like the intensity change. It looked like the camaraderie, like just the team chemistry all together. Everything came together.
I've got a fun
at that
exercise.
right time.
What if take these two teams as they sit right now? If they would have started the season, Brock Purdy would have been the starting quarterback for the Chiefs, and Mahomes would have been the starting quarterback for the 49ers. Would the 49ers have even lost a game?
Maybe not.
I think they would have ran the table. Would the Chiefs have been
close.
to the playoffs?
If they lost the game, it would probably be like one.
Just a letdown game or something. But would the Chiefs have even made the playoffs with Brock Purdy? It would have been a very slim.
No,
it would have been right at. They'd have been knocking on the door.
Season went. I mean, you have to think how tough this season was for Patrick Mahomes. Right. You know,
it was so could Brock Purdy have carried this team with that broke ass receiving?
I think that's a very good point to make, Mike, and I think that you're exactly right. Like that, they're not on the same level. It's
not even close. So which one are you taking to the Super Bowl?
Right. Got another 5-bomb from Enrique. Throw some legendaries in chat for Enrique. This man has supported the channel for the longest and very consistently, and really appreciate that. He says, we never know how the teams adjust to one another, but I feel this game ranks in difficulty above Miami and below Bills and Ravens. Purdy, really. Yeah, where would you rank it, Mike, as far as difficulty of the matchup? I think you automatically have to put it towards the top. It has to be 1 or 2 just because of the stakes.
I think if I have to, okay, look, now this is saying before the game happens, right? But in my opinion, the least amount of if you say how confident was I was the least amount of confident playing the Bills. Why? Because the Bills play out of their ass. Josh Allen's a good quarterback, and it was in Buffalo, and I thought if it was close, there could be something weird or the officials could get involved. That was probably the toughest game in my opinion.
I want to second that. That's the only game that you even felt remotely away about.
Right.
Like I did not worry. I didn't even really worry about the Buffalo game, but there was that nagging thing in the back of your head. Like they always
I felt that they match up well against us. Yes,
they do. They're obviously capable of beating us. They beat us every regular season.
Honestly,
Josh Allen's going to play a career game every time we play him. So yeah, I'm with you.
And I honestly believe if it wouldn't have been so balls cold with the Dolphins, that game would have been a little bit tougher as well. I do believe if we would have had to go to Miami, that would have been a tougher matchup in my opinion. But where it's set, I wasn't too worried about it. I thought the Chiefs should have dominated, and they pretty much did. Baltimore, I wasn't all that scared about Baltimore. I do know that Baltimore, you have to stop Lamar Jackson. You had to score points. We did that.
Well,
I would honestly put this as our second highest rated game. I would make it the Bills first, then this one, and then I would say the Ravens, then the Dolphins. And Ravens-Dolphins could kind of be interchangeable for me. For some reason, I was not that worried about the Ravens. That sounds weird, but I wasn't.
It's kind of like the devil, you know what I'm saying? Like we know that we've had past success against Lamar Jackson. We know we match up good, even with just that style of team. Like we can beat them. But the 49ers are a little different. We don't play them very often. We played them last year, blew them off the field with a similar team. But Christian McCaffrey was maybe his first game with them. So he's got a lot more comfortable in that offense. Don't think that this team has not forgotten that we beat them in Super Bowl 54 and we blew the socks off of them last season in their home stadium.
Right. And I'm not being disrespectful by saying that I don't feel that this game in my heart should be as difficult as a Bills matchup. You just always know that the Bills are interconference. They go hard. Josh Allen always plays out of his butt when he plays us. You know that's coming. To me, I feel like the 49ers are more one-dimensional than Buffalo in a way. I don't know if there's anything to back that up but personal feelings. But I feel like Buffalo's a tougher all-around team.
Matching up against us, yes, I'll agree with that. Tom Hood says, let's not overlook the 49ers. They're better than the Ravens. I will agree with 50% of this comment, Tom. Appreciate you being here, by the way. I think that you cannot overlook them for sure. They were considered widely as the best team in football until the Ravens literally beat them like a redheaded
Yes.
stepchild.
On Christmas,
Like,
33-19. Beat them to
yeah,
death.
I don't think they're better than the Ravens, Tom, but I do think they're very talented team and one of the best in the NFL. You can't overlook anyone in the
Do you
NFL,
want to know what
let
Brock
alone a team
Purdy?
like them.
You know what Brock Purdy did against that Ravens defense?
Let's hear it.
18 for 32, 255 yards, no touchdowns, 4 picks.
Well, there's a good thing to look at. Like, is it possible to look back and see like how often he played top 10 defenses and maybe how he produced? That
Yeah,
might be
let's do it.
a useful exercise just to see how he might fare against a top defense in the league. Because I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks out there that are very successful when they're playing weaker defenses. I mean, you got to think like Dak Prescott's one of those guys. When they play a bad team, the Cowboys will beat the living crap out of teams. They'll blow them off the field.
Right.
But the minute that there's stiff competition on the defensive side of the ball, it's a different ball game. And it sounds like obvious that would be the case. But I mean, the worst defense in the league and the best defense in the league in the NFL is not that big of a margin. You know?
Here we go. This is, according to Fox Sports, this is 2023, updated on February 1st. The 2023 NFL defensive rankings for team pass and rushing stats. Number 1 in all of football, they give to the Browns. They said that they were a little bit better than the Chiefs. The Chiefs come in number 2. Brock Purdy versus the Browns this season had an abysmal game. 44% passing, 125 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. They lost the game. Okay. Let's see. The Chiefs is yet to be seen. Jets, Panthers, Cowboys rounded it out. He did not play the Jets or the Cowboys or the Panthers. So the next one down the list would be he's only played 1 top 5 defense and he got smoked. Okay. Ravens, number 6, he got completely destroyed. The Patriots, they did not play New England. Let's see. I'm just going to go to the top 10. 49ers were number 8. Obviously, they're not playing yourself. 9 was the Bills. 10 was the Dolphins. He did not play the Bills, and he did not play the Dolphins.
So how many top 10 defenses has he played this year?
He played 2. He played the Browns and the Ravens, and he got absolutely walloped in both of those games. Absolutely trounced. Those were the 2 worst games of the season for Brock Purdy.
That stat alone makes me feel even more comfortable at this moment. And right. I don't think you can get too comfortable with a Super Bowl. I think there's so much on the line, and there's so much parity in the NFL. Like, you can lose to any Sunday. We know this. So you can't get like super comfortable and you can't guarantee anything. But man, I do feel good about it. Like, thinking about that, because
he lost, by the way. He lost to Minnesota. He lost to Minnesota at Minnesota. He had a pretty good game. 70%, 272 yards, and a touchdown. But we know Minnesota blitzes out the wazoo. They blitzed us probably on 80% of the plays.
Yeah.
He threw 2 picks in that game. And they lost.
Dude, I'm saying, I just feel like if you can rattle him a little bit, which it should be able to be accomplished. He is a very composed quarterback. I'll give him that. For as young as he is and inexperienced, he does have pretty good composure. But I mean, like we talked about, he was the last pick in the NFL draft. The toughest games he's ever played in his entire life were the last 2 that he's played. Like, I think there's a good chance that you know, the stage could be too big. The Chiefs could be too good. They could rattle him.
I overlooked one. The Cowboys were the number 5, and Brock Purdy did beat the Cowboys. He beat them in week number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and
they beat the Cowboys pretty bad.
Yeah, they beat them pretty bad. Brock Purdy had. This was maybe the best game he played all year, actually. 71% passing, 252 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. So he did do well against Dallas, but you got to remember also that was the 5th game of the season. Maybe Dallas hadn't really got gelled.
Well, it's Dallas as well.
Yeah, Dallas actually just sits on. That was the first one. Next week was Cleveland. Cleveland was number 1.
Any game that means something to Dallas in any shape or form, whether it's a rivalry
they're the biggest
game
choke artist there
or a
ever
playoff game, they're going to choke, 100%. But yeah, there's a lot to look into, and you know, like, it's kind of cool to talk about stuff like this because there's not, like we talked about, there's not a whole lot going on. Plus, it gives us time to really dig into the matchup that's coming up. Obviously, this coming week, we're going to have a lot more in-depth analysis on this game, start getting into prediction mode and things like that. But for now, it's weird having that bye week and having that in between where we can just kind of just talk about it, and kind of,
Right.
Just, I guess, spitball a little bit and get an idea of what we got in front of us.
Right. Yeah, you're right. And well, look, in the playoffs, he's played Green Bay. They're the number 17th overall defense, and he played them pretty well. The Lions, number 19, and he played them pretty well. So it's a big jump that he had to play number 19 and number 17, and now he's going to play number 2. So in my opinion, if Spags has look, if Willie Gay comes back and he's healthy, if he's just 100% healthy, we don't have to worry about Willie Gay playing 4 or 5, 6 plays, and then he has to go back to the locker room. If a L'Jarius Sneed don't come in and knock himself out on the first hit of the game like he did against the Bengals, if all of our guys can stay nice and healthy and Spags implements a game plan against Brock Purdy, nothing in my mind tells me that I am ever going to pick against Spags in our defense. They have shown it time and time again. We are where we are now because of our defense. And I will take Spags and our defense and Chris Jones and Sneed and McDuffie. I will take all of them all day long over a second or third year quarterback that's yet to win the biggest of the biggest games. I mean, call me a homer.
Be a homer. I agree. I mean, I just feel that way. Tilly Train says Purdy is more of a Tua than an Allen. Do you agree with that statement, Mike? Do you put him more in the Tua Tagliavoa? How do you say that guy's name? Tag Tua. I always say it wrong.
Okay, look. I agree and I disagree because I believe Purdy is closer to Allen leaving the pocket. He's more elusive than Allen, but he will run the ball more like Allen. Tua does not like to get out of the pocket and run too much. But the way he is more like Tua is that Purdy does not throw the sharpest of ball. He throws a lot up. He throws a lot of lame ducks. He throws a lot of jump balls. And you can pick off Purdy. You can pick him off. He will throw him up there. And he lets Debo and George Kittle and Ayuk to a certain degree. He lets them fight for balls. So this is a big look. Justin Reed could be a monster difference maker this game. Mike Edwards could be a monster difference maker. He is a ball hawk, and that's why we went out and grabbed him. Could Trent McDuffie get a pick this week? He's not had one all season, I don't think. Nobody throws to the Warden. You don't want to throw to the Warden. You want to look like an idiot? If you want to look like an idiot, keep throwing the ball to McDuffie.
Well, yeah. Well, so back talking about Brock Purdy, Cam Newton actually caught a lot of heat this week because he called him a game manager. Do you think he falls into that game manager conversation?
Look, I watched again today. I don't remember who it was. I want to say it was the girl from Kingdom Queens. Lexi? She was on something. It was a 49ers one. And they asked her that same question. And she said this: I hate that people use the game manager thing because Brock Purdy's not a game manager. Brock Purdy's 100% a game manager. There's nothing wrong with being a game manager. But
Alex Smith made a career of
it. Mahomes is not a game manager. He is a guy that you put the ball in his hands and he beats you. Josh Allen, you put the ball in his hands and he will beat you. Joe Burrow, to a certain degree, put the ball in his hands, he beats you. Tom Brady, put the ball in his hands and he is going to beat you. But there are a lot of good quarterbacks that if you just don't turn the ball over and let your team score enough points that your good defense carries you or get a nice little run game going, and all you have to do is manage the game. There's nothing wrong with saying game manager, and I actually like the thing. I think Brock Purdy is 1,000% a game manager, but he's not so much like a 50-50 game manager. I think he leans more like 75% game manager. He's got about 25-35% of, yes, he can get out and create with his legs. He can make a good throw. He's a smart quarterback. So I do think when he's in the position to beat you, he is very capable. But I'm not going to take Brock Purdy. If you had one drive with a minute and a half to go and you needed a touchdown, you're not taking Brock Purdy over Mahomes, Josh Allen. You're not taking him over Tom Brady. You're not taking him over Burrow. You're not taking him. I don't know if I take him over Jared Goff at that point.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing, Mike, just kind of on that point. If you were in the Super Bowl, if your team was in the Super Bowl right now and you were told you can have Andy Reid era Alex Smith or Brock Purdy. Who are you taking? Who's the better quarterback there?
I'm probably taking Alex Smith.
Me
Why?
too. And that firmly plants Brock Purdy in a game manager role because
Right.
Alex Smith is the ultimate game manager and he's a better quarterback than Brock Purdy was.
Look, we've seen that Alex Smith could throw a nice deep ball. He led the league in deep ball
when
completions.
He had Tyreek, he would throw it out there.
Completion percentage. But he didn't have to. He knew he didn't have to. And he didn't take the unnecessary risk. It's fine to say that Purdy don't want to take the unnecessary risk. I get it. But I will take Alex Smith because why? Alex Smith will run what Andy Reid tells him to. He will run it to perfection. He'll put his guys in the right place and he'll make the right decision 9 times out of 10, probably 9.5 times out of 10. Brock Purdy is yet to prove that he can complete the job. And I get it. Alex Smith never completed the job either, but we should have won the Super Bowl that year, barring a monumental meltdown against the Colts. I think the Chiefs should have won that Super Bowl. 1,000%.
Yeah, I think so too. They were dominant in that Colts game, and then just I don't know what happened.
Right, it was just that was just the Chiefs' curse until they brought in the guy to break the curse.
Flapjack City with the 2 bomb says, "Do we keep stacking defense in the draft?" I think so. I think they do. I think a lot of people's going to be surprised by that, but I mean, you've built arguably the best defense in football right now, and they're very, very young, and it's just purely off the draft. I mean, you had some good signings with Drew Tranquill and Mike Edwards, and even Justin Reed, but for the most part, our defense was built through the draft, especially the secondary.
But don't you? I think they have to. I don't really think they go out and get another defensive end. We seem to be okay there, but I think they go ahead and they dip back in for another defensive tackle probably. I don't think Keandre Coburn actually hit as well as they thought they did with Coburn. And if you want to lose Chris Jones, then you've got to go do it. And I honestly think that they're probably not going to re-sign Snead. He's a little too pricey, so we may keep drafting that late corner just to keep that one going. And it wouldn't surprise me, honestly, if they don't draft a safety this season again, because you've seen Brian Cook have the injury. By the way, he's out for the whole season. They said he cannot get back for the Super Bowl. They just don't think so. He's looking forward to next year. But you may lose Mike Edwards now. Justin Reed's in the final year of a contract. You may go ahead and go to the safety well. So it wouldn't surprise me if you drafted a safety, a corner, and a defensive tackle this season.
So I think a lot of the draft, people don't really think of it this way, but I think how Brett Veach and Andy Reid draft is I think they value certain guys. I don't think it's positions. I think when it gets to their draft pick, they have a list of where they value these players. And if they're at the top of that list, they're going to take them, whether it's a position that you think they need or not. Like I said, like last year, there's no doubt in my mind with us not needing a running back whatsoever. If Jahmyr Gibbs would have fell to the end of the first round, we would have pulled the trigger on him in a heartbeat.
But would it have been bad? No, because like you just said, you may not need them immediately. Maybe the roster doesn't look like you need him. But by the end of the year, boy, when we lost McKinnon, that would have been great to have Jahmyr Gibbs. When Pacheco was, he's been nursing a toe and a foot for all this time. If anything happens, boy, it'd have been nice to have Jahmyr Gibbs back there for a little change of pace.
I don't want to get too far into this, so we don't have to go like crazy about it, but I just want to get like a quick yes or no. Do you think that this Felix Anudike-Uzomah pick over Sam Laporta could get in the ballpark of taking like CEH or McCole Hardman? Or even Breland Speaks?
Yes and no. I think it relies on how Felix
big time whiff, right?
Well, it's how Felix develops. Look, if Felix develops, if he has a good season next year, I think everybody just kind of forgets about it. But let's just say the Chiefs can't pick up the 5th-year option because he's still not developed to a nice first-round pass rusher in year 4. At that point, yes, you say that he falls right into that category. But I think if he finishes, at year 4 or 5 as good as Mike Dana, do you still call it a whiff?
For a first-round pick?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's got to do better than Mike Dana.
And Dana's not been bad at all.
No, and Dana's been good. So I don't know if he'll get to that level or not. It's remained to be seen. But I think he's got all the talent in the world. He just got figured out.
Yeah, I was just interested what you thought about that. Our boy Jeremiah here says, thanks, Mike and Steve, for brightening up my work day. Hey, you're very welcome, Jeremiah. We appreciate your support always, man, and I'm glad we could help a little bit. Hopefully it goes by quick and easy. So,
Yep. Appreciate you, Jeremiah.
yeah, man. We the villains, Ruben. We are the villains. They said yesterday in a poll, I don't remember exactly where they pulled the poll from. I think it was from like a sports betting thing. But Kansas City Chiefs are now officially the most hated team in the NFL over the Dallas Cowboys. So we are officially the most hated team in the NFL.
I've heard that somebody called this America's team as well. So it's going both ways. And that's the same with anything. The bigger you get, the more successful you get in life. Like we talked about this the other day. People like an underdog story and they like the climb. But once you're on top for too long, then you become the villain. You know what I'm saying? They just want you to succeed, and then once you touch the success of the pinnacle,
I think people are quick to be like, I'm so sick of that, no matter what it is, right? And a lot of people, like, I feel like a lot of the culture in our country, especially over the last 20 years, has turned into like this elitist, like, I don't like things that are popular type. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, 1,000%.
Always not like what's popular. Like,
not to mention, I don't care if you look through the landscape of politics or whoever, it's guys on top and people fighting them. You know what I mean? It's that. Right. It's always us versus them mentality. It's just the way it is.
Right. Massage Mastermind with the 5 bomb. Appreciate you, brother. He says ACU is my favorite Chiefs channel. Thanks for that. He says keep up the dope content. Glad you got your monetization back. I don't think the 40 whiners can score 20 on us. Appreciate the kind words, man. Yeah, I'm glad we got our monetization back and we can get to work full steam ahead and try to get back in the old rhythm. But hey, support like this goes a long way. We appreciate you, my man, and glad you're enjoying the content.
Yeah, appreciate you, brother.
I don't think they can score 20 on us either. The more I think about it, it's like if you can contain Christian McCaffrey, they're going to have trouble finding ways to score. You might have like a busted coverage or something like that here and there, like you saw the Ravens get a chunk play here or there. You might see that, but I think for the most part, 98% of the snaps, our secondary is going to win. So just stop McCaffrey.
Again, if you keep McCaffrey under 100 yards, and with 100 yards, I'm trying to decide whether or not I think that you have to have 100 total yards or you can give them 100 on the ground plus passing. I think you got to hold them to, we'll say 115. 115 passing and rushing. If you can hold them to under 115 to 125, somewhere in that range, all-purpose yards, I still think you beat them because I don't think there's enough big plays on the back end. I will say to you, though, we are a susceptible defense sometimes to being burned because we are so aggressive. And the fact if, say, a player falls down, you blow a coverage.
Right.
We've seen a few of those here and there. You'll see that. But for the overall, our defense is pretty responsible in doing what they need to do. And so I'll say that they probably, I think because of the Super Bowl, I think that they will score a little more on us than we think they will. I really do. I believe the NFL, I believe, like, we're used to not seeing teams hit 20, 21. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they was to hit 21, 24. It wouldn't surprise me at all. I think the Chiefs have to score 30 to win this game. Do they need to? No. But 30 just about seals the deal, in my opinion. If you can get to 30, you win.
Though. A lot of, like, you have to take out a few, like maybe like this last recent Super Bowl with the Chiefs and the Eagles. That's probably the highest scoring Super Bowl in years. Like the Super Bowl is not always a high scoring affair. 23-20 Rams over the Bengals.
The Bungholes.
31-9 Tampa Bay over the Chiefs. 31-20 was the last matchup. Kansas City and San Francisco. New England Rams the year before that 13-3. Okay, here's a more high scoring one. Philadelphia and New England back when they had Nick Foles 41-33. But other than that, you see a lot of teams losing with 10, 8.
Right.
17.
Because defense wins.
Right.
I'm going to say, look, if I had to go out on a limb right now and pick a score, and this is going to change 1,000 times between now and then. Aren't you forgetting Deebo Samuel? No, we did.
No, absolutely not. But
5 times.
Debo's a dangerous player, but at the same time, like, Do you feel any type of way about him versus Trent McDuffie or him versus L'Jarius Sneed? Like,
Sneed has got to. I think Sneed's got to line up on Debo because I believe Debo's size might give McDuffie some problems. We've seen McDuffie struggle
right.
against a little bigger receivers. Laugh at me, but I think you might see Josh Williams on Debo a little bit. He's got that big physical size. I think Josh Williams can get
Very
in Debo's
fast.
head a little bit.
Yeah, Tyler Barrett brings up a great point. Defense is way better than the first time we played them in the Super Bowl. 100%. Mike, you were going to throw out a score prediction, not necessarily your score prediction, but what were you going to say?
I think the score right now, if you put it right on me right now and said on February 1st, you have to make a score prediction and you got to live with it. Where I'm comfortable predicting this game is right around the 24-21 mark, 21-17, somewhere in that ballpark. So I'm going to say 19-16. That's where I'm going to say. I'm going to say Chiefs win 19-16. That would be where I would put it, right in that ballpark.
Well, I think the Chiefs are going to score. Here's why I feel so confident in this game. I think the Chiefs offense is going to score more in this game than they've scored in any game in the playoffs.
Okay.
I think that this defense is susceptible to that. I think we've seen that with Green Bay and the Lions being able to trounce them for a big chunk of points. That's where I'm at with it. I think that our defense should let up no more than 17 to 20 points on this 49ers team. And I think our offense should score 30 plus. That's where I'm at with it. Logically.
I mean, if we can figure out a way to punch it in the end zone, I think we're there. I think we move the ball. I don't think that's a problem.
Mike, Enrique says, can't you predict 49-9? Let's go.
Okay, here's what I'll say. If the Chiefs get the ball in the end zone, the 49ers like to settle for field goals. That is one thing they do a lot. So I'm still comfortable putting them around that 16-19 mark.
Isn't
if
that
the Chiefs
strange?
can score, I will say the Chiefs could win 31-19. We could have that kind of game, 31-16, 31-19. But the Chiefs got to score. You got to get
Shanahan was the coach in 19, right?
Yes. Kyle Shanahan's been there for a little while.
Who was it before him? Was it Harbaugh?
Hardballs. Let me look. It might have been
I don't know. It was. I can't remember. But yeah, I thought Shanahan was there in 19.
It might have been Jim Harbaugh, actually. Oh, Hardballs. No, it was Chip Kelly.
Okay.
You remember that experiment? It was Chip Kelly, and then there was Jim Tomsula was there for a little bit in 2015. And then Harbaugh was 2011 to 2014.
I don't like comparing 54 to 58 as far as the Super Bowl goes because the team's completely different outside of 3 or 4 people. But the coach does have some Super Bowl experience a little bit. And he's seen this team somewhat before. Like our team's a lot different too. But he has seen Patrick Mahomes. He's seen Travis Kelce. He's coached against Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo. And the thing about it is they pretty much had us beat in Super Bowl 54. If it wasn't for a fourth quarter comeback, they were very much in control of that game.
Right.
And so, I mean, you can't count them out. You cannot, like, that's where my head is, Mike. Like I'm saying, in my head, I think logically, like, our defense versus this 49ers team, if they play like they do consistently all year long, they shouldn't score more than 20 points.
Right.
Shouldn't. And at the very most, 24, something like that. And then I'm thinking, man, the way our offense has been going and the way that their defense has been letting up points, we should be around the 30 mark. Like, just logically, I think like we should win this game. But you can't count them out. Like, that's where I'm at. It's the Super Bowl. It's a good team. It's just so hard to count someone out.
Sometimes just because it's a one-off game, it's a one-off game. You get 2 weeks to prepare for. We don't really even have a lot of common opponents this year. No. But I'll say this. This is one of those games. Sometimes you just got to throw out all logic, all knowledge, and sometimes everything just goes completely haywire.
That's true too.
So we could come out, this game could be 50-49. We could come out, it could be 3-0. You never know what you're going to get, and you don't know how fans and teams and everybody react to that environment, that Super Bowl. Again, like you said, Brock Purdy has never been to this level of game. The kid went to Iowa State, bro. He was playing in the middle of a cornfield for 4 years, and now he's going to be in Vegas at the biggest. He's going to be at Patrick Mahomes' second home.
Right.
Vegas,
Well,
like we're basically playing a home game here.
sometimes in any game, and the Super Bowl is not excluded, sometimes you just don't have, it's just not your day. And I mean, we've seen that when we played Tampa Bay. Like nothing was going our way. Our offensive line stunk. Our receivers weren't catching balls. The referees hated us. Things were going the right way for Tampa Bay. I mean, it was like you knew it was inevitable in the second quarter when they allowed
Yeah.
all the BS
Yeah, the
scoring. They gave
officiating
them,
kind of deflated our defense. And
yeah,
not to
dude, it
mention our
was
entire offensive line depleted.
right. So I mean, sometimes it's just not your day. So to be 100% confident is to be foolish. Well, not 100% confident, but to be sure that you're going to win, just 100%, like there's no chance for them. That's foolish. Confidence, I think, as far as the team goes, is key. They need to have that confidence. But as fans, I think we should be fairly confident as well. Just by all metrics and standards, I feel like that this team is better.
I hear you. We're gonna start wrapping this up though in a few minutes. I'm gonna have to jump off here. I gotta make some driving. Gotta go make some money.
Make some driving.
Yeah, make some driving money. Not gonna go just yet. We're gonna stay for about 4 or 5 more minutes. Throw some questions in the chat if you have any. We'll try to take a quick look at them. Appreciate you guys being here. Hit that sub button for us. Hit that like button for us. Appreciate that. Appreciate the ACU crew. Everybody that threw out some gifteds and some things. Dude, we like gifteds. Gifteds are great. Somebody throw a gifted out. Let's do it. Let's throw some gifteds out there. Let's grow this bad boy. I'll throw one out. Let's throw one out. Let's just throw one out. How about it? Turn that gifting on, ladies and gents.
Definitely appreciate you guys. Likes, hit that like button. It goes a long way. And that's free of charge. We're at 118 right now. We could be way better than 118. Let's see if we can push that up to about the 150 mark at least. And let's go ahead and get some questions in the chat as well. I did see one a second ago I wanted to address, and I've lost it, Mike, because that's what I do.
That always happens. Tristan, congrats. Welcome to the ACU crew, baby.
Nice. Welcome, Tristan. Yeah, just a quick heads up too. Members only live stream. That will be taking place next week. Not sure exactly what day yet because we're not sure about our schedules, but we're definitely going to try to get that done next week. So be on the lookout for that. And if you're not a member and you would like to be a part of that, hit that join button.
Let's do it.
Gary's asking if we'll be on tomorrow night. Not for sure. Not really sure what's going on. But if we can, we will. We were going to work on some content today and we decided to go live instead. But yeah, just expect shorts or some kind of long form content or lives, very consistently, going a little extra, last couple of weeks of the season here. Why not? And then right after that, we're going to dive straight into draft content.
Dude, I'm excited for the
no
draft
rest
content.
For the wicked, baby. No rest.
I'm excited for the draft content. Well, I will say, Steve's got a little irritated at me because I booked a Florida vacation.
That was dumb.
On the week of the Super Bowl. So I'm not going to watch the Super Bowl with Steve. I'll be in Jacksonville. But I tell you what, in my defense, I really didn't think the Super Bowl was that late. I don't know what I was thinking. But yeah, so I'll be watching that bad boy in Jacksonville, Steve. I'm sorry, my man. But yeah, I have a little Jacksonville vacation, a little bit of a Siesta Key vacation going. So I'll have a little bit of Steve, a little bit of time before I dive into the Super Bowl to the draft stuff. But dude, that's as soon as I get back, it's draft stuff to the end of eternity. Like, my God, it never ends. They've done a great job, Steve, by the way, of making the NFL and football like 365 days between free agency and draft and everything.
Hey, Joaquin wants to know what a vacation is, and I also would like to know what that is.
Right. Well, here's what the vacation boils down to is I'm still going to work. I'm taking the computer with me. I'm taking my cam. I'm taking my mic. I'm taking everything. So we'll still have the after post game reaction. We'll probably still do the tailgate the night before. So, I mean, I'm still going to work. So, yeah, what is vacation? I don't know. I guess just a few hours during the day. I don't have to do nothing.
Make sure to vote in the poll before we close it, too.
Poll?
No, I closed the Kadarius Toney poll. I think it was somewhere. I can't remember. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I think it was around 54% don't want him to play. And then we had another poll, which was, is Brock Purdy a top 10 quarterback? It was overwhelmingly no on that one. And then on this poll here, make sure to vote on that one just so we can get a feel for it before Mike leaves today, so he can kind of know where we're at with that. So,
what is the stupid poll that you put up? Like, for real, what's the stupid poll?
It says, is Mike a jerk for booking a vacation on the Super Bowl?
That's not my problem. Look, there was a specific week I had to go to Florida. There's a specific week. It went around a thing,
Mike,
and so I
we're
had
just
to do
messing.
it.
It's all good. It's all good.
I had to do it. So it just had to be booked there.
Why can't I click the right comment? This is making me mad. Travis says, where can I get all chiefed up gear? Merch.allchiefedup.com. Merch.allchiefedup.com.
Merch.
Go there. You can check out the merch. I'm actually going to be trying to, I got a couple ideas for some new designs. So I want to revamp the store just a bit. Hopefully, before the weekend's over. That's my goal. I had some ideas, so I'm going to work on some designs and things like that and try to get some new t-shirts up. Maybe some other merchandise as well. And then probably for the Super Bowl next week, I'm planning on doing a promo code that'll give you guys a percentage off, in celebration of the Super Bowl week. So you guys check that out and be on the lookout for that as well.
Should we just make t-shirts? If Brock Purdy, if they lose, when they lose, we should just make a Brock Purdy t-shirt that say game manager. Should we just start trolling more? I feel like sometimes just being a jerk and a troll just is fun. But sometimes I don't like to do that, right?
Yeah, it depends. It's like do you go all out, or do you worry about the karma a little bit?
Nah, I'm not worried about that. I don't care. Hey, HD says Mike's headed the nudist week.
You're gonna be hanging down.
Week. It's just one nudist day.
No, Mike's gonna be balls out there.
Yeah, just balls out in the Atlantic.
Richie's asking if Joe Toney's going to play. Andy Reid said today that he did not practice, but he's not ruling him out for the Super Bowl yet. They still think that he might be able to get back and play. So
I think he plays. I think he's going to play.
Travis Peterson says we need the NACU we trust.
That's a good one.
T-shirt. I have some ideas.
Block 30.
Block 30 shirt would be great, wouldn't it? That's a good idea, Bam.
Should we just start renaming players around the league, and then making t-shirts of them?
I can make a turd design wearing a 49ers helmet and just write Block 30 on it.
Just like a poop?
Yeah, right.
Kind of like Mr. Hanky, like a poop like that? Or should it just be like a block of poop?
Like the poop emoji, sort of, but wearing a helmet. 30. I don't know.
What a stupid t-shirt, by the way. Is anybody going to walk around with a turd on their shirt that says Block 30?
I believe people would do it, especially people that hate the 49ers.
We need to get one. So the one we talked about, the billboard. But we need to put Jamar Chase on a shirt with a clown nose that says anybody but the Chiefs or whatever. That'd be a funny t-shirt.
Yeah, I got some ideas. I'm going to work on some. So I'll be doing that this weekend. But when I have time to do so, busy schedule.
Let him watch. Let the boy watch.
We need to Let the Boy Watch shirt.
Let's get a Let the Boy Watch t-shirt. That's what's up.
Can the Let the Boy Watch t-shirt be that famous image of Stephon Diggs watching the celebration?
Let the boy watch. That's funny, man.
I don't know about it.
Okay, let's answer one more, and I got to jump off here. I'll take Enrique's question. He said, what do you guys think was our best game of the year, and what was our worst game of the year? I think our best game of the year...
That's a great question. Was
best game of the year was this past weekend, actually, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
The Ravens, which is
100%.
If you go back to the season, I don't know what I would count as the best. But if you take the worst game of the year, I think it's got to be Denver. Game. Yeah, when Mahomes had the flu.
Not to mention they cost me $3,800 in a parlay. So I didn't necessarily care for that day that much. Like, of all games for you to lose, that wasn't it. That wasn't
Ray
it.
says the Bears game. Bears game had to be good for the offense, but how bad are the Bears? Maybe that might have been how.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that this game against the Ravens was undoubtedly the best game. It was against the best team, We had the best game plan. We had the most intensity. We played with a chip on our shoulder. We bullied them. Like, that's the type of football it's going to take to finish the job, in my opinion. I think you keep that going. And as Jason Kelsey says, you finish this mother trucker.
Yep. 1000%, man. That's where I'm at. I appreciate you guys being here, though. We're going to jump off. Hit that like button on the way out. Hit that sub button. Buy some ACU merch. Become a member. Do all the good stuff. This is a fun week. We got like 2 more weeks, maybe, of hardcore Chiefs football. And then we get to jump into the draft season, man. It's going to be wild. Also, hit up Patreon. Patreon.com/allchiefed up.
Absolutely. If you guys are a Patreon
draft
member,
content.
if you're a Patreon member, we just dropped a video last night, actually. So get over there and watch that if you haven't yet. And yeah, definitely more stuff to come on Patreon. So if you're not a member there, patreon.com/allchiefedup. You've seen it dropping down on the background this entire live stream. So get over there and become a member and catch all that stuff too. But we appreciate you guys.
Hey, before we go, can I show this?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is some inspiration to keep in mind. Nick Bosa talking some straight smack today. Check this.
You watch them on film. Taylor's, I think, leads the NFL with a ton of penalties. Anything stand out when you watch them?
They hold a lot.
Nick,
Asked about our offensive tackles, and Nick Bosa said they hold a lot. That's the only thing he could see. They're also going to withhold him from having a ring on his finger, too. So,
there's some bulletin board material. Good job, buddy.
Suck it! We got 2 words for you! Suck it!
There it is, Steve. That's
Is
the
Nick
bulletin board
Bosa?
material.
Is Nick Bosa trying to get a quick jump on being the Justin Tucker of the Super Bowl?
Yeah. Oh, Tuck. Hey, look. Bosa's a slap nuts. Tucker's a slap nuts. Everybody's a slap nuts that's not watching ACU crew and ACU. We'll see you guys. You guys have a good one. Have a good night. Go Chiefs.
There goes a sight from my soul.